Hello, I'm Dr. Catherine Kraft, clinical psychologist. I'd like to talk to you in this video about something we're all dealing with today, our anxiety over the pandemic. Now, anxiety is something that we ordinarily speak about as if it is something we have. We say, I have anxiety. No, I have a hat. A hat I can put on and take off. Anxiety is a human emotion, and our emotions are not like that. We don't have anxiety. We do anxiety. Anxiety is a 4-syllable word for fear. And fear is something our adrenal glands do. Fear is something that our brain does. So in these videos, I'm going to be talking to you about how to manage something that your body does quite naturally all the time. I'll be referring to notes from time to time so that I make sure that I tell you all the most important things that you need to know. Anxiety as a 4-syllable word for fear is something that has allowed us to trick ourselves into many misunderstandings about our human emotions. We have invented a whole new series of words and manners of speaking about our emotions. For example, we say, I'm upset, I'm stressing. We even use quite extreme language with ourselves, as in when we say, I'm falling apart. None of this language is helpful in managing our anxiety, managing fear. So, the first tip for fear management is own your fear. Own your emotions, own your fear. Don't pretend you're not afraid when you are afraid. It is impossible to manage that which remains unidentified. In order to manage our fear, it's imperative that at first we allow ourselves to recognize that we are afraid and to recognize our fear with very honest, direct language. I am afraid. One approach that may be helpful is to make a sign for your refrigerator in big letters with these words: visit fear, refuse to live there. Visit fear, refuse to live there. Honor your emotions. Don't tell your children, don't be afraid. You and I both grew up with many people telling us, don't be afraid, and even, you're not afraid, when in point of fact, we were quite afraid. We don't need to do this anymore. Rather tell your children, you can be afraid and still be okay. Say it to your child, and then say to your child, I want you to say these words with me. I can be afraid and still be okay. And do that repeatedly until your child is able to say those words yourself. This is simply a brief introduction to fear management. The course of these videos will give you much more information and many approaches to constructively handle your fear. Okay. The first step to fear management is learning to breathe. Now, I hear what you're saying. I'm already doing that. Yes, I know you're already breathing. But no one, when we were in school, ever taught us the importance of diaphragmatic breathing. which is also called, and your children will love this term, belly breathing. Over my 4 decades of working with people, I've learned from people that when they understand why a certain technique or approach is important, the likelihood that they will then do it is very much higher. When someone tells you, do this, do that, and you don't really fully and completely understand why, it's very easy for you to say to yourself, oh, that's too simple, that won't work, that's not going to help me. And so in this video, I want to explain why it is so critically important that we all know how to breathe in order to combat anxiety. Science teachers, biology and chemistry teachers, in your distance learning classes, will you please do lessons for your young people on this very topic, the critical importance of learning diaphragmatic breathing in order to combat fear. You can give both the biological, anatomical, and chemical correlates of everything that we're talking about here in this video. The best website to give you actual pictures and actual demonstration of diaphragmatic breathing is the American Lung Association's website, lung.org. On that site, search breathing exercises, and you will see lovely videos clearly demonstrating how to do this breathing. In this video, I am simply directing you to use this approach to help yourself with your anxiety. We'll have a link to that at the end of the video. Here's a summary of what you'll learn in the video. We humans have 5 lobes to our lungs, 3 on the right, 2 on the left. In ordinary breathing, we do not fill our lungs to full capacity. We have reserve capacity. If you ever played the game of basketball, long ago when you first started to play, you may remember that running up and down the court, up and down the court, up and down the court, you very quickly got winded. Your coach made you run, made you practice, so that you would increase your lungs' capacity and be able to play for an extended period of time. We've all had this experience in some way or other. We breathe oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. The oxygen in goes into our lungs. In our lungs, we oxygenate our blood. Blood passes through our lungs and capillaries, and we oxygenate the blood. The blood rushes through our bloodstream and then goes up to our brain to bring enough oxygen to our brain. We all do this all the time. Right. The importance of this kind of breathing, diaphragmatic breathing to anxiety, is this. When we are afraid, anxious, we don't realize it, but we really start breathing more like this, as if we're panting. We're not filling the lower lobes of the lungs with air. Maybe, when we're very anxious, we're filling the upper lobes of the lungs. In any case, we are not getting enough air in our lungs. Therefore, when we're anxious, not enough air, not enough oxygen gets into our blood. As blood circulates, the body has its own built-in priority system. When the brain begins to perceive, oh, wait a minute, there's not enough oxygen in this body, the brain commands the body to use the oxygen in the central area of the body, the torso. According to the way we are built, arms, legs, extremities, they have to wait until the core of our body gets all the oxygen it needs. Now, don't ask me why, but the body appears to feel the head is an extremity too. So what happens when you're very anxious and not getting enough oxygen into your bloodstream? You don't get enough oxygen into your brain. Your brain very quickly perceives that you're not getting enough oxygen, and your brain goes something like this. Oh my goodness, I'm beginning to smother. Help, I can't breathe. There's not enough oxygen in here. It feels like things are closing in on me. Help, help. Your brain panics before you do. Anxiety is lack of oxygen to the brain. When you begin to recognize this and catch yourself at the very first instant that your brain is starting to say, hey human, not enough oxygen up here. Hey human, help me, not enough oxygen. And if you then do diaphragmatic breathing, as long as you need to oxygenate your blood in a very positive way, that well-oxygenated blood will rush through your bloodstream, will rush up to your brain, and your brain will then say, oh, I can breathe. I thought this person was anxious. I thought this person was giving me signals, panic, panic, panic. But now I see that I have enough oxygen. I'm okay. This is how we function when we don't know that the brain panics first and don't begin to give the brain what it wants, which is well-oxygenated blood. Then, no matter how many psychologists tell us to do diaphragmatic breathing, we're not going to do that. We have to know why we're doing it in order to help ourselves on purpose begin to do this type of breathing. When you breathe deeply and oxygenate your blood, your brain begins to be able to function as its best self, the thinking brain. Only when your thinking brain is engaged are you able to go on to put into place additional techniques for anxiety management. It starts with breathing. Don't wait until you are anxious, until you are afraid to practice this type of breathing. Practice with your children, they're home with you, more than once a day. Teach them, show them, insist that they do this type of breathing. When they are very anxious, and perhaps even all the way to the level of crying, breathe with them. Breathe with me, you say to your child. Breathe in, pooch out your belly. Children love that language. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, pooch out your belly, pooch out your belly, pooch out your belly. Oh, children love that. And you will see when you do this with your children, they calm down relatively quickly. It takes us adults who have not learned this as children a bit longer for this to be an important technique in anxiety management for us. That's the beginning of the information I want to share with you about anxiety management. I have much, much more to tell you, but I wanted to give you something that you could begin to do right away, today, to help yourself with your anxiety. Teach yourself how to breathe and how to breathe deeply, most specifically when you are feeling afraid. I'm Dr. Catherine Kraft. Thank you for listening. We're all in this together. Yes, it's very difficult, but heaven is with us. May your angels bless you.